So we're covering security lifecycle management in a multi-cloud world. And one of the reasons we put this talk together is once a year we send a survey to our customers, IT professionals, cloud security leaders, and we ask them what's their biggest concern around cloud security. And the answer that came back this year was the biggest concern was around leaked credentials. So credentials getting leaked outside of their organization. That was a bigger concern than data theft or other types of breaches. So a lot of what we're going to talk about today is around credentials and breaches. And so I mentioned our own customer survey results, but there's other data out there as well that talks about why managing credentials is so important. Verizon put out this study last year that said 9 out of 10 web applications were a result of stolen credentials. 3/4 of those breaches involved a human element, and those breaches have been increasing at a rate of almost 400% over the last 2 years. So we're going to talk about 3 things today. That's HashiCorp's approach to this issue of credential management. 1 is our approach to security lifecycle management. 2, I want to introduce you to 2 products in the HashiCorp cloud platform that help with this issue. And then 3, we're going to get into a demo. So I'm going to show you how we use these tools to manage our credentials. So when it comes to security lifecycle management, everything we're going to talk about in this demo runs on the HashiCorp cloud platform. And in particular, I'm going to talk about 2 products that are in the HashiCorp cloud platform. The first is Vault. So Vault is a secrets manager for identity-based secrets management. And the second is Boundary, which is for secure remote access or secure privileged access management. And I want to talk to you about our approach to security lifecycle management. Pretty simply, we call it protect, inspect, and connect. So we know most applications are set up the right way with protection. What HashiCorp tries to do is help you and your teams with the ability to inspect your credentials once they're out there, and then make it an easier way to connect with those credentials. And let me tell you a little bit more about what I mean by protect, inspect, and connect, and what we're going to cover in the demo here today. So when it comes to protect, what I'm talking about is finding your credentials and secrets and putting them in one secure place. And then once you have them centrally managed, reducing the risk with secret rotation, dynamic secrets, and just-in-time credentials. When it comes to inspect, I'm going to show you 2 things here today. One is a way to scan your code repos for unsecure credentials, and the second is to monitor SSH privileged access sessions. And the third piece, we're going to bring it together. So I mentioned those 2 products, Vault and Boundary. I'm going to show you how they work together to connect, authenticate, and authorize your users with dynamic secrets. So I mentioned 2 products, Vault and Boundary. The first product is Vault. Vault is a secrets manager that uses identity-based security and uses trusted identities to automate access to secrets, to data, and to application. So it acts as a system of record for all of your secrets or credentials, and it provides lifecycle management. So once you move all your credentials and secrets into Vault, you can ensure proper oversight, you can rotate them and expire them at the proper time. And there's really 4 use cases for Vault: secrets management, certificates management, keys management, and data protection. But the foundational use case for Vault is secrets management. So when I say secrets, I'm really talking about anything that a user can use to authenticate to a system. It could be username and password, PKI keys, managed keys, whatever they can use to access your system. And those secrets can be static or long-lived. They can be rotated in Vault, or they can be dynamic. So Vault helps you produce just-in-time credentials. So that was Vault. The second product we're going to cover today in the demo is Boundary. So Boundary is a way to automate secure access for developers. So what happens right now is a lot of employees or developers access systems through a VPN or a Bastion host. That is not the best user experience, and it doesn't allow for least privileged access. So Boundary is all about least privileged access, only allowing your users access to the applications that they should be using and not letting them sprawl across your network. And what Boundary lets you do is authenticate with many common identity providers, connect your resource, and then give your users secure access without having to use a username or password. So let's get into the demo. In this demo, we're going to start with a situation where an organization has unmanaged secrets. So they have secrets in Confluence or code repos or being shared over messaging systems. We're going to go out, we're going to find those secrets, we're going to bring them under management, and then we're going to convert them to a dynamic secret. So we're going to convert them from a long-term credential to something that's short-lived. And then I'm going to introduce Boundary. So we're going to bring those two products together for simple and secure remote connection. One new product that we have in limited availability is called Vault Radar. So Radar is a new offering under Vault that helps with a couple of different challenges. The first challenge is kind of what I talked about earlier. Organizations have secrets everywhere. They have them in code repos, in Confluence, developers share secrets, developers leave the company and take secrets with them, so every organization has secret sprawl. And Radar is a new offering to help you figure out where those secrets are. So what Radar does is scan your data sources. Radar can scan up to 18 different data sources and will bring back to you where your unsecured secrets are. So here's an example. I just ran a scan in Vault Radar, and it's showing me a high severity secret. So as I dig in, I can find some more information. I can click on a link to show me what this unsecured secret is. And when I do, I have an SSH key exposed in a code repo. So that is not good. I'm going to take that and I'm going to hand it off to the repo owner via RBAC so they can remediate it. So this is a super simple example of one secret, but hopefully you can see with this capability, you can really go and figure out how many unsecure secrets are in your environment. So that's nice. We found an unsecure secret. We handed it off. We remediated it. But what you want to do next is build some automation in. So with Vault Radar, there's two ways you can do that. The first is Radar is going to give you a great dashboard that shows you where all those secrets are. It shows you the severity of them and lets you action them. The second is we've built in integrations with messaging tools and ticket managers, so there's more ways to build in automation for Vault Radar. Let me show you two quick examples. So here's our dashboard for Vault Radar. So I've done a scan of my data sources. The Vault Radar has come back to me with a dashboard where all my secrets are. So I can see the top resource risks, what's active, what's triaged, where they're coming from, the type, over time, the events by severity. So that's good. Now we've scanned the secret. Now we've got a dashboard. We're starting to get a feel for all those unsecure secrets that are out there. And so now we also have integrations. So right now I am in the HashiCorp Cloud Platform. I'm using Vault Radar, but I could be on any site and I'm going to get a pop-up from Slack. So here Slack is telling me from Vault Radar that I have an unsecure secret that's about to go public in a repo. I click that in Slack and it gives me a message and brings me back to Radar where I can remediate this secret. So the first step was just kind of finding what you have and your blast radius. The next step is building out some automation so you don't have to scan every time. You have a nice dashboard and you have automations built in. So great, we have found where our unsecure secrets are. We've built in some automation. We've got a dashboard. And we have actioned some of those unsecure secrets. What's the next step? So the next step is still in the HashiCorp Cloud Platform. You can use a product called Vault. As I mentioned, it's a secrets manager. So now instead of having all those secrets in code repos, in Confluence, in text, you can bring them into Vault as a secrets manager. So this is great for control. So you're going to have all your secrets in one place, and then you can enact policy through Vault. So you want to add permissions, rotate those secrets. You can do all that through Vault. So here's a pretty simple example. I'm back into the HashiCorp Cloud Platform, and I have a number of secrets engines set up. At the bottom here is a pretty simple KV engine. I'm going to click into it, and I'm going to see that some of those secrets that previously were exposed in a repo are now being managed in Vault. And again, the big benefit here is it's more secure, but you can do permissions, you can set governance and policy. So we're doing pretty good. We found our exposed secret, remediated it, we built a dashboard, we built in some automation. Now we took it a step further and put it into a secrets engine. The next step would be utilizing dynamic secrets. So dynamic secrets are short-lived credentials. So basically, as a user logs into a system, a dynamic secret can be created just for that one-time example. So as opposed to the earlier secrets we talked about, which were static, they don't live for a long time. So even if these secrets were exposed, they would eventually expire based on your permissions. So now I'm back in Vault in the HashiCorp Cloud Platform, and I'm back to my secrets engine, and up top I have a SSH engine, and that's going to be set up with dynamic credentials tied to Boundary. So I'm going to show you a little bit about how that works and the benefits now. So that was Vault. I mentioned Boundary was the other product I'm going to talk about today, and Boundary is for privileged access management. So it's really based around least privilege, and that you only want to give users access to the systems that they really need. So here's Boundary, and a user could have logged in to Boundary with a username and password, or some of those identity providers I mentioned earlier. And now instead of it being exposed to all of your systems, they can only see the systems that they have a permission to connect to. So they are connecting through Boundary, and what you'll see here in a second is that they're going to be they're going to be able to log in, and there is no password that they can see, there's no username, so you're limiting that, and I'm going to show you how that's done in a moment. This is also a good use case when you have temporary employees or contractors in your environment. You only want them to have access to a few applications. You can log them in through Boundary and only give them access to those. So earlier, we used Vault in the HashiCorp Cloud Platform, and we set up dynamic secrets. So we set up secrets that are just in time. They can expire as they're used. So now we're going to go in and connect Vault and Boundary, again in the HashiCorp Cloud Platform. And all that I'm doing here is I'm in Boundary. And because there's an integration built in between Vault and Boundary, I'm going to point Boundary at my Vault instance. And now Boundary is going to inject dynamic secrets into the username and password. So the example I showed earlier where a user logged in, they only could access what they could use, and we didn't see any password or we didn't see any username. That's because Vault was creating dynamic secrets and injecting them into Boundary. So we've done a lot in a few steps. We've went out, we found an unsecure secret, remediated it, we built out some automation, we moved those secrets into Vault, and then we decided we don't want static secrets, we want dynamic secrets for a better security posture. And to close out, I do want to show you one more feature of Boundary that really helps with security and compliance, and that's session recordings. So even with all the tools we talked about today and improving our security posture, breaches still do happen. And when breaches happen, you have to go back and take a look at what happened. And the tool most people use today is audit logs. So you can see the audit logs. That's good. You can kind of start to make a picture of what happened, where and when. But another option is Boundary session recordings. So Boundary can record any privileged SSH session that happens on your organization. So let me show you an example. So we're in Boundary session recording. We have a user here who's completed a number of sessions. Let's say there was an issue with that first session up top. So I want to go in, I want to view what happened in that session. I can see the details, but I can also play back that session. So it really gives you all the details for what happened in that session where there was a breach. So that's what we can do with Boundary session recordings. So we walked you through a bunch of different ways that HashiCorp Cloud Platform can help with your credential management using Vault and Boundary. Last thing I want to do is really thank you for your time and investment in joining this talk. Thank you.